Hey, what's up, y'all? It is Thursday, and this is a brand new episode of Snaps, the hottest new daily college football podcast sweeping the nation. Shout out to Papa Colin Cowherd and the Volume Sports Network. Subscribe to the Volume Sports YouTube channel. Hit the like button, all the things that you know that you need to do. And hey, wherever you listen to your podcast, subscribe to Snaps as well. We got a great show planned for you today. Okay. Massive news on the playoff front as potential playoff expansion is back on the docket in a big way with maybe some immediate news coming out. And then we'll go down our top 10 games of the weekend because Aaron, how about it, bro? Today, Thursday, September 1st, we have real football. We have arrived. We have the backyard brawl. We've got some Big Ten action. Aaron Murray, how you feeling, man?
What I said yesterday, it's like waking up, or we had one more sleep until Christmas, your birthday, Hanukkah, for my brothers out there.
L'chaim.
This was the day. It's finally here. We get to sit down and watch real football. We got little tease last weekend. It was fun. It was exciting. We got to start our bashing of Nebraska. All that good stuff was a good appetizer. The main course starts tonight, and it's going to be a good night. You alluded to, we had some really good matchups all over the country. So tonight's the first time where I get to sit on the couch and tell my wife, like you said, I think you said this the other day, and I'm just going to reiterate it.
Yeah.
Love, my job is to watch football and to talk about football. So it's not my fault. The game's at 7 and Maddox's bedtime's at 7:30. Like you gotta take one for the team. You got him for the next 30 minutes because I'm gonna have 3 screens up watching as many games as I can tonight, all night long. So I'm super excited to get this thing going. Lots of bets to be made. I don't know if we dabble on that today or tomorrow, but let's get some money soonish.
I believe right now on social media, very shortly we'll have videos out for tonight's game. I know I did a little parlay pick for tonight's game. We'll have our best bets video going up tomorrow. That'll get you ready for these weekend's games. And then as we count down the top 10 games during today's show, like I'm sure we're going to get into spreads and whatnot. But yeah, I mean, Aaron, I'm just looking at your office. That looks like a nice office. Okay. That house ain't going to pay for itself. You have to watch football. I know you would rather be taking care of the kids and helping out around the house, but hey, man, we got to work, okay? So let's get to work. Let's talk college football. This is Snaps. Subscribe to Snaps. And shout out to FanDuel as well if you sign up, promo code Snaps. Imagine that. Playoff expansion, Aaron. I don't know where you feel on it. And we'll get into that, but let me get into the news first. This comes from some reporting originally by Ross Dellinger of Sports Illustrated, Nicole Auerbach of The Athletic as well. But a big meeting is going down tomorrow between the presidents and chancellors who make up college football playoffs top governing body. It's 11 people altogether, and they are meeting virtually. There is reportedly a lot of momentum for an expanded playoff right now. And I think this is key. Very notably tomorrow, the meeting tomorrow does not need to figure out any of the details, okay? This is a top-down thing. It doesn't need to figure out, like, will there be automatic qualifiers? What will the revenue sharing be? What's the role of, like, a Rose Bowl in there? It doesn't need to do any of that. Tomorrow's meeting is just deciding whether or not they want to take a vote to expand the playoff. And if they do decide to take a vote and then the vote is unanimous, well, then the decision is made. And then it'll be kicked down to the commissioners and Swarbrick and everybody else, and they will figure out the details. But a massive deal tomorrow, again, as if that vote is called and if it is voted on unanimously, then we could have an expanded playoff by 2024. Aaron, let's start here because we've never actually talked about this, me and you. Where do you stand on the current state of the playoffs? Like, do you think that college football should expand?
So when it started, I was fine with it, and honestly, at the end of the day, you expand it. Most likely it's still going to be the same 2, 3, 4 teams that legitimately have an opportunity to win a championship. And I know people are bitching and moaning, oh, well, it's the same teams every year, and we're sick of it. We're sick of Bama being there and Ohio State and now Georgia going forward. It's boring. Let's give other teams at least the opportunity. Let them at least feel like there's a spot at the table for them to sit there. And I thought last year's playoffs obviously was a great way to kind of break things up. You get Cincinnati, you get a group of 5 team in there that I thought has definitely deserved that chance based on what they've played the past few years, based on the way they went undefeated last season. They deserved a spot. Michigan obviously deserved a spot. So you did get 2 new teams in there. So I thought that was good. The bigger reason why I think it does help teams, and it may not help them say, hey, the number 12 team may, have a chance to be that Cinderella story. I mean, this isn't basketball. Like the difference between the number 1 team in the country and the number 12 team or 16 team and 2 versus 10, like there is a big gap.
It's massive.
There is. It's a massive gap. So the chances of that upset happening are slim. What I think it does down the line, though, is it creates a little bit more fairness when it comes to recruiting. And one of my buddies, Chris Childers, makes this point over and over again.
Oh, shout out Childers, noted Star Wars nerd.
Oh, he is. Whenever I get you 2 on our show in the afternoon, it's just like Bryce Young. Bryce Young is a California kid. Grew up, I think UCLA was his school. He wanted to probably most likely stay out in California. Why would a kid that lives out there want to go to Alabama? Makes no sense to me. But he goes there because he wants to win championships, because he wants to be coached by Nick Saban, because he wants to win a Heisman. And they're there every single year. Well, now all of a sudden, if we open this thing up a little bit, and now all of a sudden, if especially USC, who's in UCLA and even Oregon or Washington, if there's more of an opportunity for those guys to play in the big games, to be able to play in the playoffs, to have a chance to move forward, now all of a sudden those kids are saying, okay, do I need to leave the West Coast to go to Alabama, to go to Georgia, to go to Clemson, to go to Ohio State in order to feel like I can compete to win a championship, in order to feel like I can compete to win individual awards? No, I can stay out here because now my teams have a better shot to make it further along in the season. So I think long-term success for those schools will benefit, which will then going forward make it a little bit more interesting of who those top 4 teams are. And I think it's going to only help at a school like UCLA, a school like Oregon, a school like Washington that are out there in the Pac-12, and obviously a couple of them, and maybe all of them may be moving to the Big Ten, help those guys accelerate catching up to a school like Alabama, because then you can keep kids out there on the West Coast.
It's really interesting. I had not even considered it from a recruiting perspective. I just always think about it from a pure fan perspective. And yeah, man, you're right. In the end, you will probably still end up with your Georgia and Alabama's playing in the championship. Now, every now and then, though, you're going to be treated to a great upset. And that in and of itself is almost justification. But it does become pretty exciting if you start to look at some of the potential matchups that you would have gotten. So I want to do something here. This is very unscientific. I want to be clear, right? Because I know smarter people than me are going to listen to this show and they're going to point out all kind of flaws with what I'm about to do. Like, well, that actually doesn't work from a bracketology standpoint because the games don't line up and you need buys and stuff. But look, I'm dumb and this is very surface level. So all I want to do is prove that, to Aaron's point, while at the end you may be getting the same thing, the road to getting to that end would be much more interesting. Let's say you have a 12-team playoff. Let's do something very simple, and let's look at the AP top 12 from how they finished a year ago. And I get it. Again, it would not be the finishing top 12 that you would be pulling from. With 12 teams, I think you may have to actually have a bye for 1 or 2 teams. Figure all that out. But let's just do something basic here. These would be the potential matchups. You'd have number 1 UGA against number 12 Utah. You'd have number 2 Bama against number 11 Ole Miss. Number 3 Michigan against number 10 Oklahoma. You'd have Cincinnati, Michigan State, Baylor, Notre Dame, Ohio State, Oklahoma State. If you are a college football fan, I get it. Okay, UJ would wax Utah. I'd still be intrigued to see it, but UJ would wax Utah. Bama would wax Ole Miss again. Sure. But Michigan, Oklahoma, Cincy, Michigan State, Baylor, Notre Dame, these games in the middle, the games between 5 and 12, those will be so fantastic, so odd, and so exciting. Matchups that we never really get to see. That enough right there is yes, of course I want to expand the playoffs. Why would I not want to expand the playoffs?
Well, I think there's enough energy right now from fans, from front offices and players and media to expand it. Obviously, the money that goes with it Of course, the media is going to want to get any opportunity to cover big time football games. There's more eyeballs on the product. That's more money being generated for everyone on the back end. So I think it's going to go through. It then goes to the details. And I know that doesn't need to be decided right now. It's right now just, are we going to expand? Are we not? But some things that need to be considered is obviously automatic qualifiers, who gets in, who doesn't. Does winning your conference automatically get you in? And honestly, the biggest question to me is, what are these conferences going to look like? And we talk about, hey, does each Power Five get to put one team in there at the end of the day? When this thing starts in 2024, we may not have a Power Five. It may be a Power Four. I mean, we talked about this week. Who knows what's going to happen to the Pac-12? Does the Big Ten go in there and steal 4 more teams? Then all of a sudden it's 6 teams there in the Pac-12 on the West Coast. Does the Big 12 then say, hey, let's go and steal the rest of them and add more teams to us? And the SEC find a way, or the ACC, excuse me, find a way to get out of those grant of rights in order to leave, to possibly go to the Big Ten, go to the SEC. So like, to me, it's great to know that, hey, we want to expand. I do think that it's a good move. So that's the first question is, what is it going to look like? And there's going to be time to figure that out. I think we need to figure out what the landscape of college football is going to look like first before we make those decisions. The second question, and something I would love to get your thoughts on, T-Bob, is if you're going to have these playoffs. In a big pushback that I've heard and can someone agree with is, hey, these kids aren't professionals. Yeah. They are in college. You got final exams, you got school. Can you just jump right from a regular season? Can you jump right from a conference championship game right into a 4 or 5 week long playoff? Can you do that? So my question is, if you do go to 12, do you get rid of the conference championship games? Do you need them at that point?
I mean, okay, look, I do feel you on that. That is a real question schedule wise. I would say to the not professional thing, I would quote the great quarterback 12 gauge, Cardell Jones. Okay. I didn't come here to play school. That is more true now than ever. People are getting paid. With this new Big Ten deal, we're probably only a few years away from students or from student athletes, football players especially, litigating their way into revenue sharing. We're probably looking at, and this all gets very outside of my realm of expertise. I'm a bird lawyer. I don't know anything about traditional human law, but I would imagine this would lead to things like a collectively bargained agreement and a players union, right? So like the professionalization is here. I mean, that's what this is all about. If you're wondering where's the motivation to suddenly have this vote, it's one of the key things is that they basically have done these studies and they've realized if they don't expand, because right now the playoffs would be to set to expand in 2026 if they make that choice. But they're leaving money on the table for 24 and 25, money that they could theoretically get approximately $500 million, right? So in the face of $500 million, the school stuff, the worry about player safety stuff, it kind of goes out the window because you find a way to make it work because I don't know, maybe you give the players money, you work around. Like, I don't know what the answers are in that regard in terms of scheduling, health, all these other things. But I do know that if there is enough money to be had, the answers will be found. Like you will find a way to make it work. And then, with this being more professionalized now and with players being paid more, maybe it actually cuts down on some of the recent things that we've seen where you've had guys skipping out on bowl games because why in the hell would you go risk yourself in a bowl game? Now, maybe you're paid bonuses for making the playoffs or something along those lines. So you have monetary incentive. And then on top of that, you are actually competing for a championship still. And if all of this sounds very drastic and extreme to where we were just 5 years ago, it is, but it's just the reality that we live in. Like trying to fight this tide you're going to drive yourself just crazy. Like you just have to accept that it is what it is at this point.
Well, I think you brought up a good point about bowl games, and a lot of people are bitching and moaning since the playoffs started. Bowl games and the quality of bowl games and kids wanting to even play in some of these bowl games have gone out the window. These kids would rather opt out to get ready for the NFL. So now all of a sudden, if we do go to an expanded playoff and the focus is, hey, we got this 4-week playoff or 5-week playoff or however long it's going to last with 12 teams or whatever it ends up being, what happens to bowl games? What happens to the importance of bowl games? Do people even give a damn at that point about tuning in to watch a bowl game? Because all of a sudden, if you do add more playoff games, it's going to have to start during bowl season. So what's the incentive of having a bajillion bowl games on TV when no one really cares because everyone's focused on just the playoffs? Like if you as a player, like if you're a top player, you don't make the playoffs. It's all about making that. That's where all the bonuses is. That's where you have an opportunity to win a championship. If I don't make that, do I even care about playing in the Duke's Mayo Bowl?
No, but you know what's funny, Aaron? I feel like that cat's already out the bag. Yeah. Like people can blame the playoffs, and certainly when it comes to the big bowls, the playoffs took away a lot, right? Like the New Year's Six does not have the same cachet that the BCS Big Four did back in the day. But to me, the playoffs are not actually like the crazy playoffs are not why players are skipping. It was more of just a kind of an awakening where they're like, wait, okay, because you see a couple guys be the first through that wall, right? That's always tough. The first person who decides to skip a bowl game because you're like, this doesn't behoove me at all. And then once one person does that and players see that it worked out well for them and their NFL draft stock didn't get hit and they didn't expose themselves to unnecessary risk, sure. Other guys are like, well, okay, that's a path that proved to work out for him. Why would I not?
Well, it's definitely a reason, but I'm talking about more for fan purposes too. Like as an average fan, the sexiness of, like you said, the BCS era. I mean, those games were awesome. Like if you were a player,
they were hot,
or a fan, like man, I got to go to the Orange Bowl. Got to go to the Rose Bowl. Oh, I mean, the Fiesta Bowl, like that was awesome.
Fiesta Bowl. Oh,
I mean, give me some Tostitos Fiesta Bowl. Now it's like, honestly, like as a fan, it's not just about these players wanting to play it, but as a consumer, if these bowls aren't making money because people don't care and people aren't watching, does that go out the window eventually too? Like college football is changing in a lot of ways. It is. Money's making things get a little kooky. The players getting paid. I'm with you. I do think we're going to get to a point here very, very soon where there is going to be some sort of collective bargaining. There's going to be an opportunity for these players to get paid directly from these universities. I think it's what we should do. I think it actually makes things a lot more fair and equal because you get rid of some of these crazy collectives and boosters that are trying to essentially pay for players and build rosters that way. Like if I knew that I could go to Ohio State or Georgia or Oklahoma or USC and get paid the same amount of money, and yes, I can get a marketing deal on the side through whatever, then yeah, that opens my mind up a little bit. So I think we all just need to understand at the end of the day that football is changing. The college game is changing. It's changing rapidly.
That's what it is, dude.
And either you jump on board or stop watching.
Yeah, exactly. Right. Like bitching and moaning. It's been a big bitching and moaning show, but bitching and moaning isn't going to change anything. Okay, last thing I'll say on the lower tier bowl games is when they stop making money, they'll stop happening, right?
Yeah.
But with advertising, the fact that the only thing we give a shit about watching live anymore is sports and gambling now, like I think the lower bowl games still are going to have some juice, even if you have like I don't know, let's say Pitt's playing the Mayo Bowl or something. When is the Snaps Bowl?
We need a Snaps Bowl. We need to get to the point where these big companies just say, screw it, it ain't worth our time. It plummets. We hit it at its lowest. We bring it back as the Snaps Bowl. Come on, Papa Colin. Colin.
Yeah. Gallagher can make that happen, dude. I'm sure, dude. I'm sure he got the bag from FanDuel.
Imagine you and me in the booth calling a game.
I would love nothing more. I'm still jealous of Mike Golick Jr., who is just like me, but like more talented and better in that we both had famous fathers who later got into radio. We both rode those coattails into radio. I'm just a local Mike Golick Jr., but I'm very jealous of when he got to eat that Oreo dipped in mayo. I'd have done that shit, dude, for sure. So look, big vote going down tomorrow. We'll see if expansion happens or not. Again, the details will still need to be hammered out, but potential vote could be called. And if that vote is unanimous, then expansion is going to happen maybe sooner rather than later. All right, Aaron, but screw all that, dude, because that's the future. I'm like Michael Jordan. I'm trying to live in the present, the here and the now. And the season starts this weekend for real, for real. And so we have collated a list. We have put together the top 10 games of the weekend, and we are going to work from number 10 to number 1. We'll break each one down. we're a little deep in our bag at 10 here. Not in the good way. We're not in like the deep in the bag, like pulling out some great tricks. Deep in the bag, like we're scraping the barrel a little bit here. USC Rice. Oh my, how about it, dude? Look, man, it's interesting because it's the Lincoln Riley debut, right?
Yeah.
And they have a great opportunity here to just go beat the hell out of Rice, have Caleb Williams throw for 700 yards. Addison goes off. Like if you want to crank up the USC hype train, you could not have a better week one opponent than Rice here.
No, this is an opportunity for them to feel really good, and for Lincoln Riley to say, "Hey, look, it works. I can go into a new school. I can get transfers, and we can go out there and not miss a beat." But I mean, that's what they need. I mean, they need an opportunity. A lot of these schools that have gone the transfer route to have that warm up game, to have the game, because there's going to be some screw ups. There's just going to be. I mean, a team that's been a veteran team that's been together for years is going to make mistakes, and that goes back to the bigger question of, should we have essentially some sort of expedition game, or should we have some sort of preseason game before the first game of the season? This is that. I mean, let's not get it twisted. This game versus Rice is their preseason game.
Yeah.
This is an opportunity for them to get the kinks out, then for opportunity for them to continue to work the chemistry. They're going to blow them out. I'm excited to see them. I'm excited to see some of these new faces and new uniforms. That's a weird thing to me. Like I'm well accustomed to seeing an NFL player be on one team one year and another team another year go from wearing a red uniform to a purple uniform to a green uniform and whatever it is, to now see some of these elite players leave and be in brand new uniforms in just a year is bizarre. I mean, look at tonight. West Virginia, Pittsburgh, two quarterbacks that played at USC are playing in the Northeast. Like, how weird is that? I'm not used to it yet.
I can't claim this joke because my buddy told me, but it is the literal used Trojan Bowl. But we'll have more on that here in a little bit. If I was USC, shout out Ian. If I was USC, I would lean into this and style it as a big Hollywood premiere, and basically as a big middle finger to the rest of the country. I would roll out a literal red carpet for my team and have them walk the red carpet into the stadium, but they ain't gonna do that, dude. Number 9, best game of the weekend. I could even bump this up a little higher, Aaron, and it's because I think it's a team that we're both very interested in, and that is South Carolina versus Georgia State. Now, Georgia State's actually a sneaky good football program, a new football program. They've done fine. I think they won a bowl game last year, if I'm not mistaken. But South Carolina, Aaron, you said it the other day. This is a team that finished with a winning record, and they literally did not have a quarterback. Like, who was it that played quarterback in the bowl game? Wasn't it a special teamer, like wide receiver?
No, it's the best as a receiver. Well, yeah, this is an interesting game. I mean, Georgia State 8-5 last year. They returned the majority. I think 15 starters on that football team are back from last year. So we talk about working out some of the kinks. This is a team that returns a lot of guys that have played together, and it's always interesting to me in a game like this. Like, the pressure is obviously not on Georgia State. The pressure is on South Carolina. You're talking about a team that, first year with Shane Beamer, went 7-6. There's a lot of excitement. There's a lot of cool TikTok videos going on. People are buying in. They're drinking the Kool-Aid. We got Spencer Rattler. We got a quarterback that was a Heisman guy that was supposed to be a Heisman guy last year. And obviously we know everything that went down. And, we could have been even better if we had a quarterback, all these, excuses, and they could. And I will say this, like, I do believe South Carolina will be a better team, but a game like this, the pressure's not on Georgia State. It's on South Carolina. They have to go out there and win a big way. So if things start slow against a team that is bringing back a lot of pieces, do the butts get a little bit tight, like we like to say on the show? So,
nah, dude.
I mean, they're only 12.5 point favorites at home. That's not a lot of points.
The Cock Commander. I know they didn't go with Cock Commander, but
they should have gone with Cock Commander. They should have gone with Cock Commander.
They ignored democracy. Ignore democracy at your own risk, people. Right?
USC will win, but I am interested. I am interested to see Rattler.
Are you taking Georgia State to cover here?
We're not talking. No, I'm taking. I'll take South Carolina.
Okay.
The place is going to be crazy. I want to see confidence, though. I think that's the biggest thing I want to see from him. You get benched last year for a freshman. You come in for, I think late in the season, you came in, didn't play that well at one point. what is his confidence level right now? How confident is he? Because a confident quarterback of his caliber and his talent level is a guy that's going to be really darn good.
Well,
But
he
does he
might
have
need,
some
and it,
demons? Does he have some demons? Is what I'm worried about from last season still.
this might be good for him, man.
Yeah.
He might need to be humbled a bit. I don't know what show it was from because I didn't watch it, but like there were a whole bunch of clips floating around the internet last year, and it maybe was a Netflix show or something. But like some of the ways that he used to talk to some of his teammates, he was a pretty cocky dick. Now with what he's gone through, maybe you kind of sand down some of those rough edges. And even if you don't believe in Rattler, this is how it was put to me, and this really kind of opened my mind to it, obviously. But like, okay, Rattler doesn't even have to be great, but he's still a massive upgrade over what you had at that position last year. You still have Jordan Birch coming off of the edge. You have really good wide receivers. You have really good transfer portal class overall. I I think South Carolina is frisky and as hell this year, and I like Beamer's energy. And yeah, man, I think I can't wait to watch them in their debut this weekend against like I said, a pretty good Georgia State team.
Yes.
Okay. Number 8, Nebraska against North Dakota. I'll say this, Aaron. You never want to be coming back from Ireland embroiled in controversy and have to play a school with Dakota in the name. You're down for a fist fight, right? You got Scott Frost saying, I have no problem with Mark Whipple. There's just some things that I would have done differently. We're still learning to work together. It seems like a disaster for me and the Frosty boys.
No, I think they're going to absolutely just destroy North Dakota. I think Casey Thompson showed me enough last week there in Ireland, especially early on in the game, that he's talented, and you know, I think people got a little bit tight after that onside kick. You're feeling great.
Yep.
We always, we alluded to it. Like when you're up 2 scores, you feel like, okay, we can't be stopped. All of a sudden you make a stupid mistake and then they score. And then everyone's like, oh no, we're in trouble now. And you could tell, I mean, everyone on that team started to play a little bit tighter than they did in the first half. But I think overall, I saw enough good things from Nebraska, especially on offense. I mean, defense needs to clean up a lot. I mean, there was some big gaping holes, but you always make the biggest improvement. And I know this, you hear this all the time, but it's true. You make the biggest improvement from week 1 to week 2, or in their case, from week 0 to week 1. So they got some of those mistakes out. They've seen the film. Hopefully they've had some hashing out with the coaching staff and some of those coaching meetings. I think you see a Nebraska team come out and I think they kick some ass. I don't know what the spread is right now. I don't even know if there is a spread. That's how much Vegas thinks of this game.
I mean, look, North Dakota's a 1AA team.
Yeah.
Nebraska will dominate, sure. Yeah. Still, Dakota. I mean, they might punch you in the mouth a little bit. We'll see, man. We'll see. But they'll win. I guess it's a matter of like how badly do they win. Number 7, Clemson, Georgia Tech. Georgia Tech's pretty bad. Clemson's defense remains amazing. Aaron, is the only interesting part of this kind of how DJ Uiagalelei plays?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, talking with people that was, there at the spring game that have been at camp there and watching him, and he's improved a little bit with accuracy. Not huge strides, but has improved. And we know he's talented. We know he's got a big arm. I think the skill position around him has gotten better this year. It's let's not get choice. I mean, there's going to be a team that leans on the defense. This is one of the best, if not the best, defensive lines in college football there at Clemson. They're going to dominate. And you look at Georgia Tech, and the biggest issue that Collins had was getting offensive alignment. You went from the triple option to now having to recruit guys that can actually protect in your scheme. They're still not at the level where they can compete up front with a caliber defense and a defensive line that Clemson's going to have. So, to me, the bigger question is not, I guess DJU is a big question, because if Clemson wants to be a team that makes it to the playoffs, the only thing that's going to hold them back is him, because they have everything else there in the ACC. They got the defense, they got skill guys. Can DJU just be good? Not great. We don't need to be him a Heisman guy. We don't need to be him he doesn't need to be the first round draft pick guy, but can he just be good? Can he be a 63% completion, take care of the football type quarterback? If he's that, this team is almost a shoe-in to make it into the playoffs. But if he's not, and he's turned the ball over and he's inaccurate, he's below 60%, then this team will be similar to last year. They'll be a 10-win team. It's a good season, but obviously not up to the standard that we're used to for Clemson. But they come out there, they absolutely dominate Georgia Tech. and the Collins talk in Atlanta about firing him will only continue all season long.
We talk a lot about the big boys on this show, and we will continue to do so because we have national perspective. But Georgia Tech is the prime example of how bad it can suck to be one of the small boys in this current era of college football. You got one good player in Jahmyr Gibbs, and Alabama's like, no. And they just reach over, and it's like, boop, nope, he's mine now. He is going to T-Town. Oh, here we go, though, dude. Now we're getting into it tonight. The backyard brawl is back, which, by the way, there is a beautiful long form article by Ross Dellinger on the 07 backyard brawl, the most famous one that literally made Pat McAfee consider self-harm. It's like really intense to read, but really fantastic. The bottom line is West Virginia and Pittsburgh hate one another. Okay. And the backyard brawl is back for the first time in over a decade. I am hyped on this. The used Trojan Ball. Which used Trojan are you riding with, Aaron? Keaton Slovis or JT Daniels? You know JT Daniels pretty well.
I do know JT. I know JT, and JT I think is an extremely talented passer. So I kind of like what I've seen from him when he was healthy at Georgia. He's going to be going up against an extremely talented defensive line that's going to be bringing the heat. West Virginia has an offensive line I think they can hold up. So I think right now it's at a 7.5-point spread.
Yeah,
I think
a
rivalry game.
Sneaky.
Yeah, sorry. I mean, with a game like this, with a rivalry with new quarterbacks, with Pittsburgh and everything they lost, and I know they may have, they're saying they have a better overall team, but when you lose a first round quarterback and you lose the best receiver in the country, it's hard for me to believe that you're a better football team. So
exactly,
I'm gonna roll with West Virginia to make this a closer
Straight
game.
Up.
I don't.
Okay.
No, I think they cover. I think West Virginia covers. Yeah. I think that hook is big right there. I think it's a 3 to 7 point game, and I would not be surprised if West Virginia wins it. I think Pittsburgh has some question marks that need to be answered.
Yeah, look, I think Narduzzi's a better coach than Brown, but the rivalry factor here and the week one factor when nobody knows that they suck yet, I think it keeps it close, even though I think Pitt is overall the better team. I'm right there with you, man. I got West Virginia plus 7.5 in my 3-team parlay. I think Pitt probably wins it. We'll see. Number 5, the first big boy. UGA, Oregon. We've talked about it a lot this week already, Aaron. Dan Lanning going against Kirby Smart. You know what? I read something today. It's pretty fascinating. 11 years ago, Dan Lanning was a math teacher in high school. And look at our boy now out there leading Phil Knight's football program. I love the rise. I really do. But hey, the Ducks are about to get fucked. It's over. Georgia's going to cover and cover big. I don't care what everybody's. Yeah, dude. They're covering the 17, dude. Let's go.
Georgia wins. I think we all feel pretty confident. It's a home game, essentially being in the Benz here in Atlanta. The fans are hype. It's going to be electric outside the stadium. Slight chance of rain, so there's going to be some hopefully not, because the tailgates are going to be pretty epic. But Bo Nix is going to be the quarterback. There's no doubt in my mind that Bo Nix is not going to be the starting quarterback for Oregon. I think he gives them a chance with what they bring back on both sides of the football. I know they've lost a couple pieces. I am a believer he is an upgrade at that position. He's played against Georgia. Dan Lanning's familiarity with the offense and with Stetson and some of the pieces on both sides of the football, I think he could keep it close. I think Georgia wins the game. To me, it's 31-17, somewhere around there. Oregon's a good football team. I think they're a team that, to me, are legitimate chances to win the Pac-12 this year. They're too good to get blown out. And Georgia has some questions on defense that I want to see first before I know how good they are on that side of the football. So Georgia wins, but I'm gonna take Oregon with the points there. It's a lot of points, man. First game.
Pac-12 lines, and I mean in the trenches lines, not game lines. Pac-12 lines are soft. Georgia remains elite defensively. Studson Bennett, which we broke down yesterday with the fade and the gold chain, and never forget, okay, Nix is for kids, okay, and Georgia's about to treat Oregon like some kids. Get the hell out of here with your Bo Nix, dude. I'm over it, dude. I'm over it. And I don't care that Dan Lanning knows Georgia, dude.
Bo for Heisman.
Yeah, Bo knows. Bo knows how to lose. Yeah, we'll see. Number 4 on this list, another big boy, Ohio State, Notre Dame. Where you at, Aaron?
Oh, it's a butt whooping. This is To me, this is, I know that you feel like this for the Georgia Oregon game. This is how I feel for the Ohio State Notre Dame game. I think Ohio State just steamrolls. This offense will not be stopped this year. They're more athletic, they're more talented. I know this is Marcus Freeman's second year there as a coach and system wise. I know obviously first year as a head coach, but it's a second year in the system. The defense was good last year. Can they be as good this year? They're going to be really darn good, but we're talking about the best quarterback in the country, the guy that I think and believe is going to win the Heisman, the best receiver in the country, one of the best running backs in the country. They're going to put points up. They're going to put a lot of points up. You look at Notre Dame on offense, new quarterback, corporately limited last year. I know you're all hyped up about his high school stats. This is the big boy leagues. Doesn't get it done. I mean, this is a game it's 45-17, somewhere in that realm. They run away with it. Notre Dame's offense is just not going to be able to keep up. I do think Ohio State with new DC, with the guys they have returning from last year, take a massive step in the right direction on that side of the football to get to be a lot more balanced football team. Don't doubt CJ, man. He's going to put up 5 touchdowns in this football game, 4 or 5. They're running away with it.
I get it. Okay. We're a little closer to Hanukkah than Christmas. Okay. You're just out here crapping all over the Catholic side of you. Get out of here, dude. Okay. You're Catholic. You know about purgatory, right? Notre Dame's about to send Ryan Day into purgatory. Okay. What do they say, Aaron? If you're trying to upset someone, sometimes it's better be lucky than good. And you may be hating on him, but Tyler Luckner has the luck of the Irish. Okay. And let's be clear, Notre Dame's going to lose. But I do like Notre Dame getting the 17. I think it's game 1. It's going to be closer than people think. I think Ohio State's probably the best team in the country. I get that. I still think Notre Dame's a very good team. I think they're going to have an elite defense. I think they got one of the best secondaries in the country. And I think I'm interested to see how CJ Stroud, now here in year number 2, does with such a big test early on. I want to see Jackson Smith and Jigba versus that secondary.
It's also in Ohio. Let's not forget that.
I know.
Advantage week 1. It's going to be loud. The ground's going to be shaking.
Yeah, how'd that go for them?
Leprechauns are going to be shaking.
Okay. Okay. So all of my awful wordplay jokes aside, I do think Ohio State wins, and probably by double digits. I just don't think they cover the full 17. I think Notre Dame's a markedly better team than Oregon. And I like that Tyler Buchner has a second year under Tommy Rees to develop. Number 3 on this list, the end cap of the weekend, Sunday night in the Superdome, baby. That's right. LSU, FSU. How are we feeling here?
I think this is Brian Kelly's big moment, and I think he's going to seize it. I think this is his moment on national TV Sunday night. All eyeballs are going to be on this game, and he's going to make a statement. This football team is going to say to the SEC and to the country, be on the lookout. Like, are they going to win the SEC this year? Are they going to win the West? No, but they're not someone that you can just show up and just roll through. If you're Alabama or A&M or Arkansas or any of the teams that they face on their schedule, like LSU is going to be a contender in every single football game this season. I believe they got way too much talent on both sides of the football. I want to see what the quarterback spot looks like. Obviously, Jaden's played a lot of football. I think Garrett's a better long-term answer. But you're talking about, I think, the best receiving core in the SEC. They got dudes on defense, especially in that front 7. I think they win this football game by a touchdown. So I like LSU.
I mean, he said it, not me, boys. Okay. You can't even accuse me of being a homer. Look, I do actually, if I really wanted to boil this down, and we went position group by position group on my morning show, and we actually ended up with an overall push, in terms of who had the advantage where, but you have to then give weight to those advantages, right? And the gap between Brian Kelly and Mike Norvell is very large. And although the offensive line is a question mark for both teams, the gap in which LSU's defensive line is better than Florida State's offensive line, in my opinion, is a much larger gap than vice versa. So that's it. FSU is really bad on the O-line. That's the strength of LSU. And then it's Brian Kelly versus Mike Norvell. Oh, and it's in New Orleans in the Superdome with a sold-out crowd that's going to be all LSU. So, 3 points. I think I like you, Aaron. Okay. I'm getting paid come Sunday night. Number 2 on this list, Cincinnati, Arkansas. Luke Fickell, Sam Pittman, toe to toe. I want Arkansas to win this one. If they don't, their schedule is hard enough where it's going to be a very long year. If I'm a Cincy fan, I hate how much I lost to the NFL defensively. It's literally impossible to place, especially at Cincinnati. I think, and I don't even know if I'm going to bet this one. If I was choosing, I think I'd go Cincy with the 6.5, but I do think that Arkansas actually wins this game. I like KJ Jefferson.
Well, I mean, let's look at the I know both teams lost, but just let's focus on Cincinnati here for a second. Desmond Ridder, Sauce Gardner. You lose, Ford and Pierce, your best running back and receiver. I mean, you lost essentially your entire offense. You lost all your rushing. You lost your top receiver, who I think had about 20 plus receptions more than the next guy. You said it, 6 guys left for the NFL or that were drafted in the NFL draft. That's a lot of key pieces here. And this, I love Coach Fickell. He's done a hell of a job there at Cincinnati. But last year was a special year. Like, everything aligned perfectly with them, with what they had on both sides of the football. This isn't Georgia. This isn't Alabama. This isn't some of these schools where you can just reload because of the way that you bring it in town. And he's brought in good talent, but it's not to the level that we saw Cincinnati last year. I think Cincinnati takes a step back. I think this is KJ Jefferson's. This is a big year for KJ. And if KJ progresses the way he did from 2 years ago to last year to even how he looked in November, being a 75% completion guy, I think Arkansas wins big in this game. I do. It's at home. The fans are super pumped. They're believing in Sam Pittman. I love Sam Pittman as a head coach. I think they've lost some guys in the portal on defense. I also think they got some good guys in the portal. They got some good receivers through the portal as well. They need to get the timing and the chemistry down, but they're a better team. And I'm just a believer in KJ. And I just don't think Cincinnati's going to be able to reload like a traditional Power 5 team could.
Yeah, like, I know everybody listens to my Georgia picks, like, what the hell, T-Bob? Georgia lost so much. Okay, but look at how Georgia recruited. They're still elite everywhere. You just can't do that at Cincinnati, unfortunately. What was Sam Pittman saying about, like, tea and whiskey the other day? Sounded right in my alley. I never
trying
saw
to figure out, like, what are they going to bring on, like, third down and special teams? Like, what are they going to bring to the party? They're going to bring the liquor. They're going to bring the keg. They're going to bring the tea. T-Bob, sorry for that keg on his back.
Oh, I was just about to say, man, it's been so long since I've engaged in a keg. A keg stand would be so nostalgic at this point. Keg stand, top 5 group touchdown celebration of all time, easily. It's even better. You get bonus points and maybe even bumped up into the top 3 if it's a big boy touchdown, and then you do the keg stand with the big boy. That's the best. Utah, Florida, the number 1 game on the docket this weekend, according to your boys here at Snaps. And remember, I get it. Like, there's a top 5 matchup, but it's a 17-point spread. Utah, Florida is what now, Aaron? Is it 3.5 or 2.5? Do you have it in front of you?
I pulled up? I think it's 2.5 the last week I saw.
Okay, I have all my lines pulled up here. Give me one second. 2.5 on FanDuel.com right now. Utah favored by 2.5. Utah better win, right? I got Utah as the Pac-12 champ. I got Utah as a potential playoff team. Like, they have to beat a rebuilding Florida, even though I love Billy Napier and the momentum that he has going. They can't lose this.
No, this is a game I think they have to win, because I still think at the end of the day, Florida is going to be a 7, possibly 8-win team. So for Utah, we already know it's tough enough for a Pac-12 team to get into the playoffs. If you lose to a team and they look at the resume, and I don't care that it's week 1, but there's like, okay, that team was a 7-win, 8-win team, that's going to hurt you a ton, especially once again being in that conference. So this is a must win for Winningham. They got Cam Rising. I love the quarterback. I love what they bring back. They take care of the football. They play well on both sides. It goes down to the quarterback. Can Anthony Richardson can he be that guy? We talked about it yesterday. Can he be that guy? That's plain and simple. It's either he is or he isn't. Because if he isn't, they can get embarrassed, actually. Like, if Anthony Richardson's average, Utah may win this game by double digits. If Anthony Richardson is what we think he could be, Florida could win this football game. It all hinges on him. And we're going to say that. I feel like we're going to say that every single week for Florida. Are we getting that Cam Newton-esque quarterback, or are we not? Because if he's not, I tell you, if he looks like dog poo poo this first game, Florida may be fighting to make a damn bowl game this year. I think this is going to say a lot about what Florida's going to be this year. So
he called the shit poop. Great Billy Madison line. Or is that have you go? It doesn't matter. Hey, okay. How about this? By the way, excellent job by our producer Ryan Brumley yesterday with the Cam Newton stuff. He knew it was going to trigger people. It worked perfectly. My mentions are still filled with people pissed that we compared Anthony.
Well, I got people calling out
people
calling out the Nick Fairley. I'm like, Nick Fairley did not have to be brought up into this conversation. This was a purely Richardson Newton conversation, but
he who shall not be named.
He should not be named.
I got one final part of this game that we got to get out of here. Is it fair to say that Cam Rising is kind of like Utah's Stetson? He wasn't the starter going into last year. He does not have the most intimidating physical skill set, right? What he does have is decision making. He knows where to put the ball, and he can get it there on time, right? He makes up for that arm strength time. The 20-5 touchdown to pick ratio. He was a sophomore last year. Now he gets a full offseason. I feel like sophomore to junior is a pretty big jump. A lot of times he's been QB1 all offseason. Like, yeah, I think Cam Rising is the difference here. And as much as I like Napier, Whittingham's way more proven. Like Whittingham's one of the top coaches in the country. So,
18th
I got Utah to cover here, dude.
Plus, I mean, Cam, he didn't cut his hair. So according to you, Stetson has lost his edge because he got the fade going. He's feeling himself a little bit too much. I think Cam.
No, I'm just no. I'm just worried. I'm just worried if he lost it.
There's still the possibility. Cam's standpoint,
yes,
he's still humble Cam with his flow.
Humble Cam
with his flow.
Bad Cam Rising. I will say this. There's still the opportunity for Stetson to be even better than Stetson. I'm just a little worried. I'm just, we'll see. We'll see. That will do it for us today here on Snaps, our college football preview, man. We just got you ready for the weekend. Again, we got our best bets coming out tomorrow. Look on our social medias for the parlay plays. Aaron Murray, thank you so much, man. Thank you to all the wonderful producers here at The Volume. Shout out to The Volume. Like and subscribe to the YouTube channel. Subscribe to the podcast. And we got a little Saturday night show coming up as well, Aaron. Y'all better be ready to stay up and drink some beers with us. What's it going to be? 10:30 this 11:30 Eastern, 10:30 Central this Saturday?
I think I'll be doing the game from the booth in Auburn. So it's either that or back to the hotel. We'll make a decision.
Okay, well, you may have to host
from the booth.
I'm planning on being drunk. I don't think you're going to be able to be drunk up there, but it's going to be super fun. So yeah, Harry Carey. Look, thank you so much, and we'll see y'all later.